Wallabies show some massive fight in this game, but 6 from 6 off the tee from Handre Pollard helped the Springboks bounce back in Cape Town. 30-22 win, definitely a win needed heading into those big clashes versus the All Blacks in New Zealand. Before we get into it, let me know in the comments what you guys thought of this game, who played well, who didn't. What did you like of the Springboks in this game compared to the first test? What did you like about the Wallabies? Who was your man of the match? Let me know in the comments. Hit that subscribe if you haven't already. Let's get into it. Welcome back, everybody, to Kick On Rugby. I'm your host, Dane Sherritt. And while it wasn't the Springboks' most dominant performance by a long shot, a win was needed massively here. A bounce back was needed, and that's what we got. Big credit to the Wallabies again. I won't say they were outstanding, but they just don't stay away, or they don't stay down. When they get knocked down, they just keep getting up, keep going. The fight within this Wallaby squad is unreal. Even if you're not a Wallabies fan, if you're just watching from outside, or you're a Springbok fan, or you're a neutral fan, you have to say the fight within this Wallaby squad, unreal. Again, the Springboks putting on a ton of pressure or points early on in the game. The Wallabies fight their way back in, come within 2 points, but not to be in this one. But again, big credit to the Wallabies because they were unreal in that first test, and they were really good in the second test again, just staying in the fight, and definitely put respect back on that Wallabies jumper. We'll stay on the Springboks first. So again, like I said, not the most dominant or most polished performance. And like I said in the preview, Springboks are going to go back to what they know. It's kick well, and be physical. And they were that. They were like a slow poison in that first half, playing down the right areas of the field. Again, kicking well, pinpoint box kicks, or kicking well from Handre Pollard, the big up and unders, applying a ton of pressure in that regard, and then forcing penalties. And that's where Handre Pollard stepped up to the platter, kicked well off the tee all game, 6 from 6. But then early on, those 2 penalties that we took, that's just applying scoreboard pressure, getting down the right areas of the field. And when those opportunities come, taking them with both hands and scoring those points. Then Wallabies get a small opportunity. They grab a try there off the back of some quick play from Nick White, Corey Toole, a little grubber through, and Corey Toole goes over untouched on debut. Outstanding. But Springboks hit back straight away. And this was for Kane Moody's try, but off the back of a pinpoint box kick from Grant Williams. They go through, apply a ton of pressure, the Springboks do. They put a lot of pressure on Nick White, a very strong tackle from Kwagga Smith. I think that's where Nick White got his HIA, and he had to get off the field. They counter-ruck it there. I think Erge Snyman gets the turnover. It's a turnover there. All defense of Wallabies is congested here. Where's the space? Out wide. What's the quickest way to get the ball there? A cross kick. I don't think he kicked it or he hit it as well as you'd like. Pollard did, but one bounce try. Kane Moody scores. Pinpoint box kick, a ton of pressure, get the turnover, shift the ball on turnover or spread it to where the space is. Handre Pollard cross kick, and Kane Moody scores in the corner. Talking on Handre Pollard quickly, just cool, calm, and collected he was. Throughout the year, never looks flustered, gets the ball, looks like he has 1,000 minutes on his hand every time he gets the ball. Big up and unders, nice passes, good strong tackles. Did everything he needed to do to own his role and to get the win for the Springboks outstandingly. Kicked 6 from 6, got the 1 try assist there for that cross kick. Was really good. And what the Springboks needed from their 10 in this game was just cool, calm, play down the right areas of the field, direct their team around the park. Handre Pollard for Springboks was my man of the match for sure. Ill-disciplined at rucks, cost the Springboks a couple of times. Van Staden and Kwagga Smith giving away penalties there. But that was definitely a game plan of them, was get those guys in, slow the ball down or slow the breakdown down. And even if you give away 1 or 2 penalties, that means it's stop-start. That's playing exactly into Springboks' hands. Wallabies want free-flowing. They want there to be quick ball. They want to give ball to their players out wide, their speedsters out wide. But if you've got Van Staden and Kwagga Smith getting in there, getting their hands on it, winning a turnover every now and then, but then otherwise slowing the ball down and giving away penalties, stop, start, kick to touch, you can then try and get your line out. So that was, I think, definitely a plan going into this game and executed it well. Yes, they conceded a lot of penalties, but again, they wanted to stop, start, they wanted to slow the game down, they wanted to play into their style of play. And Van Staden and Kwagga Smith did that extremely well. Obviously, John Luke out with illness before kickoff, so it probably worked out well with Kwagga Smith going to 8 and then just slowing that ball down. Yes, like I said, maybe giving away a couple penalties, but it played into the Springboks game. For Kwagga, what I loved about Kwagga Smith's try was just that little bit of variation off the line-out. So we saw Damien de Allende, they used him a lot to hit the ball up off line-outs to get over that vantage line, and he does it really well. But off this one, Marks throws the ball in. They go down for a maul. Marks wraps around. They throw the ball out to him. There's a few guys running short. They throw it out wide or get it to Williams, then out wide to Damien de Allende. And instead of him taking a crash, a late little pop at the line to Jesse Creel gets over that vantage line. They come back down the blind side. Oxenchair, the rampaging Ox, cutting back in, gets lovely ball there from Williams over that massively over that vantage line. And then Kwagga Smith gets it and under the post. When you've got that bang, bang, bang from the Springboks, they're getting over the ad line. Very, very hard to stop. Almost impossible to stop. So I love the little variation of the line out. Variation of who was going to take the ball off first phase. Damien de Allende right up at the line, throws a little pop pass to Jesse Creel over the ad line. Back down the blind side again over the ad line. And then Kwagga Smith that close to the line, not stopping him there. That was probably the biggest improvement of last week, was getting over the ad line. But again, in the first half, it was really good in that first test. And in the second test, it was really good again, getting over that vantage line, almost scoring the exact same amount of points in the first half of both games, 22 in the first game, 20 in the second game. But where the Springboks struggle, and it is definitely a problem, it's something they'll look to improve or have to improve going forward, and it's something opponents will look at to target, is Springboks' second half. They struggle to score points in the second half, and they struggle to defend in the second half. I don't know, is it a lack of intensity issue? Is it an age of the players coming on off the bench issue? Are they not bringing that energy that is required? Or is it still that the Springboks are just finding their groove off the back of not the best preparation leading into the Rugby Championship? Whatever it is, it's something that needs to be looked at, needs to be fixed, and needs to be fixed quickly, because opponents by that I mean the All Blacks, will be looking at that and definitely looking to target it for sure. So in the first test, didn't score any points in that second half, conceded 33 points. So in the second test, they scored 10 points in the second half, but concede 15. So while they're not good at scoring points in the second half, they're also not good at defending in the second half. And you're telling me opponents are not looking at that? All Blacks will be looking at that, licking their lips going into these next two tests. It's something that Springboks definitely need to work on, need to improve on for sure, whether that's understanding that they're in it and coming tight to keeping the ball closer, not giving away penalties, playing down the right areas of the field. It's taking your first half and just duplicating that. And yes, it can be a lot easier said than done, but it's definitely something they need to work on. It's something in the first half, they're so good at enforcing how they want to play, playing exactly how they want to play, executing those plays, playing down the right areas of the field, being strong with ball in hand, getting over that vantage line, kicking well, taking opportunities, turning that into points. But then you come into the second half and the game plan, everything just changes. How they executing their plays, how they carrying the ball, how they defending, the amount of penalties they concede, all of that seems to change. Like I said, in that first test, conceded 33 points, didn't score any points. In the second test, concede 15 points and only scored 10 points in the second half. The second half for the Springboks, definitely an area of concern. Can't score or struggle to score points, and definitely struggle to defend in the second half. Definitely something to look at moving forward. They finally do score in that second half in the 75th minute. Ibn Etzebeth, that's that close to the line, not stopping him there. Handre Pollard, 6 from 6. He was my man of the match for the Springboks. And they get the win. They definitely needed it heading into those All Blacks tests in New Zealand. But still not polished performance, not dominant by a long shot. Will need to improve massively. Over to Australia, dealt massive, harsh blows, injury blows in the whole game. So first off, Tom Wright goes off after the first 4 minutes, knee injury it looked like. Then a couple minutes after that, Nick White goes off, come out in the second half. Suali'i's not there, so Tane Edmid had to come on. So a ton of disruption. So when you look at it like that, they played really well. Massive credit to the Wallabies. Gave away a couple penalties early on, got scoreboard pressure up against them. They got their first opportunity, and all they need is a little sniff. Nick White, eyes up footy here, gets the quick tap, takes it quickly. Did he release the ball from the quick tap there? Who knows? No angles to see it. Sees the space in behind, a little grubber in behind, and Corey Toole on debut. You're not turning around and still catching Corey Toole. You're not catching him even if it's a fair race. Corey Toole goes over untouched, collects it. Outstanding. That was pretty much all she wrote for the Wallabies in that first half, kind of riding the waves of momentum. They're taking opportunities when they could. James O'Connor kicking a penalty there to make it 20-10 at halftime. They come out in that second half. And again, like in that first test, they come out firing. They're the first to score in that second half. Great option from James O'Connor, knowing that the Springboks rush up massively and that there was space in behind. Wallabies scored their first try with a grubber in behind. They score their second try with a kick in behind as well. The ball bounces, terrible bounce for Kane Moody. Who's there? Max Jorgensen collects the scraps and scores. This is when I'm like, oh man, are we going to see exactly the same as what happened in that first test? Because Springboks almost scored the exact same amount of points. Wallabies weren't in it in the first half. They come out in the second half and score first. They're manning up defensively. They stopped a couple of opportunities Springboks had to score tries. They were getting up in their faces, forcing errors on the Springboks. And they were backing themselves a lot of times as well, sometimes to their detriment, especially in that first half. I think they probably should have gone for points a couple more times. Instead, they went to touch, back themselves, didn't score off that. In the second half, there was once where they did then take the penalty, but then backed themselves later on in the game, ended up scoring from that. So set them all. Brendan Paenga also scores off the back of that. And then they're in it. They're within 8 here. They get back down there again, get a penalty again, or force a penalty out of the Springboks. James O'Connor misses the kick-at goal, and again misses a kick-at goal again. Some days it's your day as a kicker, and some days it just isn't. James O'Connor only kicked 2 from 5. If he kicks 9 of those points, like those other 3 kicks, they go 1 point ahead. But again, that's if. And on the other side of the game, or of the boot, Springboks, Handre Pollard kicked 6 from 6 and kicked the Springboks to a win in this game. But again, massive credit to the Wallabies. Went to South Africa up against a dominant performance in that first test, and in the second test really showed fight and were in that game throughout the game. Could have won it in the back end there, but just came up short. Still, massive improvements from the Wallabies throughout, and massive confidence boost for them heading into the games versus Argentina, and then heading into the games, the Bledisloe games versus the All Blacks. What did you guys think of this? Who was your man of the match? Who played well? Who didn't? What did you like of the Springboks performance? What did you like of the Wallabies performance? Let me know in the comments. Hit that subscribe if you haven't already. I'll see you next time. Bye.